Elijah. So at this moment, I would like to introduce Dr. Elijah. He's someone we all know, an alumni of UTM. He specializes in IoT. He's a well-known researcher in IoT and other parts of engineering. So he's an expert in this field, and he's someone who is also enthusiastic about technologies happening around the world. So without further ado, Dr. Elijah.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Nonso. Thanks for that introduction. And I want to say a very good afternoon to everyone who is able to join us this afternoon, and those who are joining us from other parts of the world. So once again, welcome to, this is the 5th webinar, and today basically we are focusing on Starlink, a disruptive internet. I'm sure some of us have heard about Starlink, and in addition to my presentation, joining me is also an industry expert, engineer Ahmad. So he will be joining us much later. He's currently engaged in another meeting. So I will share on the first part, and then he will later join us as we progress in the meeting. So once again, welcome. So I'm going to share my screen, and let's see. All right. So for today's talk, we'll be looking at what is Starlink, some of the comparative studies we've done in terms of comparing Starlink with cellular technologies. We'll talk about buying and deployment. A lot of people are still wondering, is it okay for me to buy Starlink? What is it all about? What's the process? So we'll talk about that, how to buy and the deployment, the process. Then also monetizing and opportunities. What are the opportunities that Starlink provides, especially for a country like Nigeria? Then, of course, we'll look at performance. Okay, so I'll just provide some of the information I've been able to gather through the their website, that Starlink website, and also from reviews from other people, and some of the useful information I gathered online. So in terms of actual practical performance, we'll get engineer Ahmad to talk to us on that. So he has bought his copy and he has deployed it. So he'll be sharing his experience in terms of performance and all of that. All right. So what is Starlink? Starlink is a satellite-based internet service developed by SpaceX. A lot of us have heard about SpaceX. The space exploration company founded by Elon Musk. So Elon Musk is a very popular person. Most people know him. Okay, so Starlink consists of a constellation of small, low Earth orbiting satellites. So when you talk about small, low Earth orbiting satellites, you're talking about satellites that have been deployed about 500 kilometers to 1,500 kilometers above the Earth's surface. And in comparison to the geostationary Earth orbit satellites, where they are deployed about 35,800 and above. So we also have the medium Earth orbit satellites. So the good thing about these Starlink satellites is because it's closer to the Earth. So if you talk about the latency time, that is the round trip time for you to send data to the satellite and back, you're looking at about 25 milliseconds. Whereas when you compare it to the geo satellites, you're looking at about 600 milliseconds and above. So the good thing about it having about 25 milliseconds is that you can do a lot of things within this time period. Because for communication, latency is very important, especially for those who are doing things like gaming. So they need a latency of about between 20 milliseconds to about 50, 60, 70 milliseconds. So all these other satellites are able to provide that kind of latency, so, or the round trip time. So that's why this Starlink seems to be one of the best satellite internet communication technology that is currently around. All right. So it supports streaming, online gaming, video calls, and other high data rate activities. And in terms of deployment, so far in Africa, I think there are just about 2 countries that it's currently deployed. So we're talking about Nigeria and one other smaller country close to Tanzania. And so I feel we are privileged to be one of the African countries that has Starlink. And I see a lot of opportunities in terms of development and innovation that is going to come up as a result of this. All right, so Starlink provides different kinds of services. So you're looking at residential services, business services, IoT, roam, and aviation, and I think they have maritime services. So currently, for residential services, in terms of services, residential services is still the one available in Nigeria. Maybe in the future, we'll probably have some of these other services. So for residential services, you have, when you order your Starlink device, it supports up to 128 devices. In terms of latency and speed, so you could get up to, similar to the business one, 25 to 50 milliseconds. And in terms of upload and download, some people are able to get up to 260 megabits per second, and it varies. And in terms of download, you're looking at about 20 megabits per second, okay? So these are some of their equipments. Let's say you buy the residential one, you probably get your Starlink modem that comes with it, in addition to other devices that comes along with it, all right? So let's look at Starlink versus cellular technologies. So of course, for most of us who use internet or data, or we tend to subscribe to any of the cellular or any of the telcos data plans or voice plans, okay? So we have Starlink coming up as some, you could say it is there to complement the existing technologies. And again, it could be a major changer or a competitor to existing services, okay? So in terms of coverage, one thing that is good about Starlink is that it covers wider coverage. That's wider coverage. So you're looking at deploying in remote areas and things like that, where other telcos do not have their base stations. Whereas for the cellular, I think they are monetized and they are business driven. So they look at where people are and where people can afford their services, where people can pay for their data and all of that. So a lot of times you only find these cellular technologies whether within urban cities, whereas in remote areas where people cannot afford to pay or they don't have enough people to subscribe to their services, you don't get base stations there. And as such, there's no communication. So that's one of the major changes or major things that Starlink is going to change. So whether you are in any part of the Nigeria, you can have access to satellite internet. Another thing is the cost, okay? So for cost, the initial setup cost is still on the high side when you're talking about deploying Starlink. So if you go to their website, you see these figures on their website in terms of Naira. And I understand if you are going to buy it, if you don't have access to, if you cannot use your Naira MasterCard, then of course it's going to cost you more if you are going to go through some of their virtual payment platforms. So some costs could go as far as 460,000 Naira. So I would say it's still a bit expensive at the moment, okay? Then for monthly subscriptions, this is what they have on their website. So 19,260 per month, okay? Whereas if you look at the setup for cellular, let's say you want to set up your cellular, you could get a modem at best case scenario. Let's say you want to get a special modem that gives you access to internet. So you get a modem. So for example, the MTN modem will cost as much as 50,000 Naira. Some are less than that, depends on the telco you are joining. And you have your data plans. So some data plans are yearly, some are monthly, some are 6 months. So you could spend as much as 600,000 Naira if you are looking at data plans which are close to a terabyte. So again, in terms of data plan, maybe there could be advantage in terms of comparative analysis for Starlink. All right. So at the moment, Starlink supports unlimited, especially for Nigeria. But I understand, although it's unlimited, but it's capped at 1 terabyte. So once you exceed the 1 terabyte, then your speed or your upload and download speed could be affected. Okay. So most of the cellular for currently, a lot of them don't support unlimited. So they are all fixed data plans, so which you need to buy and pay. So again, one needs to compare the cost in that regards. Then for speed, especially with 5G, I would say they have better upload speed based on some of the reviews I've seen online compared to the Starlink, because Starlink upload speed could differ, and it could take longer time for you to upload certain things compared to some of the 5G technology that are currently available. All right, so factors that may affect Starlink include once you place your dish or your transceiver in a place where it's obstructed by trees, or there is no clear view. It needs a very clear view, otherwise the performance could drop. And for some reviews I've seen, it's been affected by rain in some cases. So so you could see some intermittent drops in terms of your upload or download speed. Okay. For cellular, once you are close to the base station, in terms of the performance, you get a very good performance. But if you are very far from the base station, maybe probably at the edge of the cell, that's when you suffer some poor performance. Okay, and also when they have peak times when too many people are on the network, you could have some performance defect in terms of cellular. All right, so let's look at in terms of buying and deployment. So basically, if you go to the Starlink website, the first thing you see is something to order. Okay, I don't know why they do that, but I think it does some psychological effect. So maybe the first thing is you just want to rush and order. So of course you need to check if there's services available at your location before you order. Okay, so you could select. For now in Nigeria, it's just residential, but for other places they have other services. If you want to explore some of the other services, but currently in Nigeria, we only have the residential service. Okay, so for payment method, I understand if you use a Naira card, it's difficult to buy, and as such, you need to use other virtual dollar payment platforms. Like example is the Payday, and I understand there are other types. So maybe Engineer Ahmad will probably talk to us more on how he bought his own and all of that. Okay. Then ordering time on their website is usually 2 to 4 weeks, but some people, based on review, those who ordered early probably received theirs. But again, as not more number of people order, of course, the delivery time could take longer. In terms of where to mount, of course, that's to be a very clear sky. So you might need to go to the top of your building, especially if you are living in skyscrapers. So that could be very challenging because you need to go to the very top in order for you to set up your transceiver. Okay, so again, when you want to deploy your Starlink transceiver, you need to scan it in order for you to connect to the satellite. So in terms of expansion, you can also expand. Let's say you are having your Starlink modem somewhere that is not giving access to other people. So you can expand it by connecting some mesh nodes or some Wi-Fi routers. There's a way to configure that so that more people can have access, and you can expand the coverage of your Starlink internet. Okay. So normally it takes about 20 minutes. Once you connect, you just allow it to scan. And of course, it will scan and automatically connect. So what you get in terms of when you order, you get your Starlink, your Wi-Fi router, okay, power supply cables, and of course, a base for you to mount it. So for some of the reviews I've seen, setup costs, again, if you are not purchasing with the official dollar rate, then you could spend as much as 450,000 to purchase your Starlink. So installation costs could go as far as 5K to 100K. It depends on where you want to mount it. So if you are staying in high-rise building, so you may want to spend more on that. Okay. Then, of course, you need to make provision for power. So that's another challenge. So if you don't have power, of course, your Starlink will not work. It's not like some modems that just comes without, maybe it comes with some internal battery and things like that. So you may also need to make provision for inverters, and that is going to add to your cost. So these are the setup costs you need to think about if you want to go for Starlink. All right, so I'll just talk a little bit about monetizing and opportunities. And there's a way to monetize your data. Okay, maybe you want to resell your data, or you want to get some crypto. So there's this platform, Ycrypt, which you can go and explore. So I don't have much details on that, but it's one of the ways. Let's say you want to monetize your data, you can go and explore this. So, for example, you install your Starlink, and of course, you're not using it to capacity. So you have free data to sell out. So this is one way you can monetize your Starlink. Okay. So again, like I said, it's going to be a disruptive internet because it opens up more opportunity in the rural areas whereby the telcos have failed to provide internet connectivities in rural areas. Starlink is going to change that. So it creates a lot of opportunity. So you could go set up your own Starlink internet services in a rural area, and of course, people can subscribe to you. So you become like an internet provider there. Other opportunities are maybe you want to focus on smart agriculture. So you may want to look at such opportunities, setting up your own internet in remote areas. Then you can open up some of those rural agricultural and create more rural agricultural services like providing sales from farm to market and all of that. So it's going to open up a lot of opportunities as far as research for those of us who are in research. So there's going to be opportunities whereby if you already installed your Starlink, there's room for research, that is you do some data logging. Already installed your Starlink, there's room for research, that is you do some data logging. Okay, then you can monetize your data. So publish your papers. Again, if you want to, it gives opportunity to publish papers. So if you're able to set up your Starlink, you get your data, you can do some propagation studies, and you can publish your paper. And in addition to that, there are people who are looking for how you can you can publish papers, then collaborate with some authors. Then, of course, you find that some people who want you to publish paper for them. So you can you have the opportunity to get paid in that case. All right. So I would like to pass the time to our guest speaker, Engineer Ahmad is currently here, and maybe he will talk about his experience in terms of maybe purchase, performance, deployment, and all of that. Thank you.
I'm sorry I came in a little bit late. Yeah. So Starlink, ordered for Starlink when it was first announced last year. I think that was around May. And the order was confirmed February this year. And once I made my payment, they delivered within a week after payment. Yeah, so but from other people that I've spoken with, so it looks like right now, it's available now. So when you make payments, they say delivery is between 1 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
However, there are a couple of people that I know have paid and they waited for over 4 weeks now. They've not received any delivery. So I do think it depends on the availability of the terminals in the country. So, so I think so they ship in bulk from the US to Nigeria and then they're not distributed. Okay. So their local availability matters. And like you know, the device is selling very fast globally. So because of that, they're always in short supply. So that might delay the delivery. So in terms of installation, you basically do not need anybody to help you install, apart from maybe if you have to climb on the roof, which most of the time that's what you have to do. But personally, I was able to climb my roof and I just placed it on the highest point I could get. But later on, I still had to get somebody to basically secure it so that it would not. So anyway, so I had to get somebody to basically secure the outdoor unit so that it will not be carried away by the wind, and then lay the cable in a very neat way. Yeah, so I think, how much did I even pay him? I can't remember. Less than 10,000 naira, I think.
Okay.
Because my roof is very accessible. There's already a ladder and everything. So all you have to do is climb and yeah. So it was easy to install. And then, so in terms of performance, I got over 100 megabits per second when I tested. But the speed though fluctuate from time to time, especially with weather. Like right now, it is raining here, and when I tested, it's actually very slow. And I discovered that even my MTN 4G is currently faster than the Starlink because of the weather.
Okay.
Yeah. So before I joined the call, I just made a test now, and I think I was getting around 30 megabits per second, and MTN was actually slightly faster than that, 4G. So in terms of business, a lot of people have asked me whether you can use it for business. And so personally, because the speed is not guaranteed, so it's subject to weather conditions, I do feel, I've not tried the business version, the one that is designed for businesses, which is which is also more costly anyway. So if you live in cities where there's 4G or 5G connectivity, I do feel that using 4G or 5G will most likely be a better option, unless for me, the reason why I went for Starlink is the fact that the bandwidth is unlimited right now.
Okay.
I was using MTN and my consumptions was more than 600 gigabytes per month. So, and the highest package I can get on MTN is 30,000 naira for 20 GB. So, which means I will be consuming almost 90,000 naira in a month, just to.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, but with Starlink now, I'll just pay the $43, which is the equivalent of around 31,000, and then I have virtually unlimited data. So, from that perspective, apart from the setup cost, the monthly bill for Starlink is actually cheaper for me than MTN. So, basically, the entire entertainment system in my house is based on the internet. My kids, my kids watch Netflix and YouTube and all these things. So, and so basically, so it makes sense financially to use Starlink over MTN. Yeah, but in terms of speed, if you have access to 5G, 5G is actually faster than Starlink. Yeah, but Starlink is faster than 4G when the weather is good. But when it is not good, like right now, it is raining in Abuja now, so it's very slow right now, but it still works. Yeah. So, but the huge advantage for me is the fact that the bandwidth is unlimited, even though I hear that there's a plan to limit to 1 terabyte. But 1 terabyte is still a lot of bandwidth. So it's still 5 times more than getting from MTN, for example. So other than that, so in terms of sharing the connection, I do not think it makes sense to share it if you're living in a city like Abuja or Lagos or even Kaduna. So any city that has access to 4G or 5G, I think you might not be able to sell this as a service. But if you are living in a remote location where connectivity is not available or low, then yeah, it will make sense. So you can buy one terminal and you can share it with 10 or more people, and everybody will contribute or everybody will pay you as a service provider. So in that case, it will it will make sense because they have no any other option. But if you are in a place like Abuja where 5G and 4G is available, I think people will not be willing to share. It is shared among the two of you or more. So and what you are getting will be probably too slow compared to what you can get 4G or 5G.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, I like to apologize since we have some bots who are
We have so
interrupting
many bots in the chat.
So, but yeah, one question I
Hey,
would
the
like
ones
to
that
ask.
just joined, the ones that just joined, can you like what? Stop
that's a
moaning.
bot.
That's kind of weird. Can you stop moaning? I don't know. Stop moaning.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
Kurisheften.
All right. Yes, thank you, Engineer Ahmad. Please, in terms of payment, how did you make payment and what was the total cost in Naira?
Okay, fortunately for me, I have a dollar card.
Okay.
So that's what I use.
Okay.
Yeah. And the card actually had dollar inflow, so I didn't have to convert to Naira or think about it in the
okay.
So
I'm gonna go stubborn Mormon.
Okay, that's
so good. Yeah. Right. So it's a foreign card basically.
Okay, that's a good one. So yeah, it's advisable to use the dollar card if one wants to.
But there's I think there's one or two Naira cards that can work.
Okay.
So is it payday? Yeah.
Payday, yeah.
So that one will work, but they use the black market rate rather than the official.
Okay, so it's probably much expensive. Okay, all right. Because of our time, we have just a few more minutes left. Maybe we should open up the floor to some of our participants. So if you have questions to ask, can you please go ahead to ask at this time?
Can I fuck you? Okay.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is God's Favor. My question is, how now I'm in Ekiti State, so I don't know, is it applicable to every part of Nigeria? And how much will it cost? How am I going to get it? I know I didn't join from time, but a quick rundown. How will I get it? What would it cost me? And is it working in Ekiti State in Nigeria? Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, God's Favor, for the question. Maybe Engineer Ahmad, do you want to respond to that, please?
Yeah, okay. So yeah, it works everywhere in Nigeria. Since it is satellite space-based, so it's satellite-based. Anywhere you are in Nigeria, you can have access to the service. And so the way you get it, you go to Starlink's website, starlink.com. You place the order directly. They will ask for your address, and then they will deliver using DHL, or is it UPS? Yeah, one of the two. I can't remember which one. I think it was UPS. So they use courier services to deliver to your address. And then once you receive it, you set it up and then you're up and running. So, but all payment goes directly to Starlink. So all you need to do is to have a card that can pay in dollars, and that's all.
That's good to know. Then I understand if you register with a particular address and you take your Starlink away from that particular address, does it affect the performance? Because I understand it's supposed to cover within 15 miles. So
yeah, I think I've seen somebody said that it affected the performance. I saw it in a video. But by design, you're not supposed to move it around anyway.
Okay.
So because the way they plan it, in terms of the speed, so they allocate speed based on your location. So even though it is space-based, but the capacity is still limited. So they don't want, so they've already planned for the number of subscribers they have based on their locations. So if we move around, it might affect the network. But they don't want you moving around. But in theory, you are supposed to be able to move around, but well, they don't want you to do that. Because it affects the planning.
Okay, I think that's a good one. So any other questions from the floor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, please.
So, sir, if I can use this talent for business, some people they, when I ask some people they confuse me. So some people they say you can connect so many people on this talent from different places, from different places that will take more than 500 kilometers. So I want to know something about these things.
Should I answer that?
Yes, please.
Okay. So yeah, Starlink itself, the modem that comes with it is actually meant for you to use within a single building.
Okay.
Yeah, so it might not be able to go far. So, but if you want to transmit it across to a wider area, you might have to change that modem. So there are many products in the market that you can buy that can so have you what do you call it? Ubiquity. I think it has a lot of wireless devices that have long range. So you can buy third-party devices that can allow you to transmit or broadcast this. But the limit for Starlink itself is the bandwidth. So you're getting 200 megabits per second, for example. So if you have 200 people connected, so that means that bandwidth is shared among the 200 people. So at the end of the day, you have just 1 megabits per second, which in today's world is very slow because people are used to playing high definition video and whatever. But if it's in a place like in a village where people don't even have internet, so they will be happy to just have that. But in cities where people have smart TV and they want to see high definition on their TV, so it might not be okay for you to have so many people on the network.
Okay, sir. So, sir, is there any limited amount of data for subscriptions, or is limited?
Right now, it is unlimited. I think they have planned to introduce 1 terabyte. They haven't implemented that one yet.
Yeah. Sorry, just to come in, we just have a few more minutes left, maybe 1 or 2. So I can see Mr. Rabi Adam.
Yeah.
Can you please go ahead with your question before we...
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm living here currently in Gombe State. And with my MTN, once I subscribe, I can browse it anywhere within Nigeria. So is it possible if I station, because what you are saying is to be stationed in one place. So does that mean if I station it there, I cannot use it anywhere else? One. Secondly, also I learned that it can accommodate up to 128 other subscribers to attach to it. So how true is this, please? Thank you.
Okay, so I will just be fast. So number one, I'll start with the second question. Yes, you can connect 128 different devices. Yes, you can connect 128 different devices. So let's say, provided you are in the same building. So you put it in an office building and have a lot of people with their laptop and their phones, so up to 128 of them can connect. But it's a short-range device, which means that if you're outside, it might not be able to go through the wall. So you might not be able to connect to it. Then in terms of moving, like Dr. Elijah already mentioned, you can move it around, but there's a limit on how far you can take it. So because they have network planning where they've already allocated capacity based on location. So if you move it too far, you might be moving it where there's no plan for you. So, but if you want to be able to move it, there's a plan. So you can go for the RV plan where you pay more and then you are free to move it anywhere within your country. And there's another plan that you can actually move it globally. I think, what did they call that plan again? So that's the one that aircraft and ships can use.
Yeah.
That's
the roaming one.
Yeah, the roaming one. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can.
I think, we just have a few seconds left. So I want to thank Engineer Ahmad for creating out this time to share his experience with us and educating us. Also want to thank everyone who has been able to join this webinar today. And we look forward to seeing you in the next webinar. So if we still have time, can we just take a group photograph? You can put on your camcorder. Please, there's a link in the chat box to register your presence so that we can send you your e-certificate. So if you can click on the link and fill the form. We'll send you your e-certificate. Dr. Rabiu, I salute. All right, I think we have just a few seconds left. So, Dr. Nonso, can you please take the